There comes a time in every life when standing still is no longer an option. Life will not always wait for you to feel ready. The storm will not ask for your permission before it rises. The mountain will not bow down because you are trembling at the bottom. It takes courage, raw, unshakable courage, to look fear in the eye and say, I may be trembling, but I will not turn back. That's the courage to conquer. Courage is not forged in comfort. It is born in the fire of adversity. The moments of ease and convenience rarely produce the kind of strength that conquers giants, moves mountains, or changes destinies. It is in the heat of trials, in the shadows of disappointment, and in the weight of challenges that something deeper is pulled out of us. Struggle has a way of stripping us down, removing the unnecessary, and awakening what was lying dormant within. You don't even know what kind of resilience you carry until life presses you hard enough to demand it. When everything around you seems to be breaking, courage is not a luxury, it is a necessity. The courage to conquer is born when you feel the sting of loss, the ache of rejection, or the pressure of impossible circumstances. That is the moment when you find yourself saying, I cannot quit here, I will not die here, I must keep moving. Courage does not show up in the calm, it emerges in the chaos. It does not reveal itself when everything is working in your favor. It comes alive when everything seems to be against you. Think about the seed buried in the dark soil, pressed down, hidden, and surrounded by weight. The seed does not sprout in the sunlight without first enduring the soil's darkness. In the same way, your courage begins to sprout in the seasons when you feel hidden, pressed down, and overwhelmed. What felt like a burial was actually a planting, and what seemed like the end was the beginning of something powerful growing inside of you. You do not discover courage until life gives you a reason to bow, a reason to surrender, a reason to give up, and you choose to rise instead. The fire of adversity does more than just test you, it shapes you. Pressure creates diamonds, and so it is with courage. It sharpens your instincts, it clarifies your vision, it solidifies your will. It makes you realize that you are stronger than you imagined, tougher than you believed, and braver than you thought. Many people run from struggle because it feels painful, but hidden in that pain is the very process that produces courage. Without the breaking, there can be no building. Without the shaking, there can be no stabilizing. Without the stretching, there can be no growth. Adversity has a way of pulling out of you the warrior you never knew existed. Courage is born when the tears won't stop flowing, but you keep standing. Courage is born when the doors keep closing, but you knock again. Courage is born when the voices of doubt tell you to stay down, but something inside of you whispers, get back up. The courage to conquer is not about never falling. It is about refusing to stay on the ground. The adversities you face are not there to destroy you, but to awaken the kind of strength that ordinary moments could never call forth. It is in the season of storms that the roots of trees grow deeper, and it is in your storms that your faith, your character, and your courage dig down into places you didn't know you could reach. Struggle has a way of reshaping your vision. What once seemed impossible begins to look possible when courage rises within you. You begin to see opportunity in the obstacle, purpose in the pain, and growth in the struggle. You stop running from the fight and begin to recognize that the fight is forming you. Every challenge that tried to break you is actually shaping the conqueror in you. You are not defined by the weight of your trial, but by the strength that rises out of it. The courage to conquer is not handed to you. It is forged in the places where your comfort is stripped away and your will is tested. This is why the people who have gone through the deepest struggles often walk with the greatest strength. They have learned that courage is not learned from books, but from battles. It is not picked up from comfort, but from conflict. Every scar they carry is proof that struggle gave birth to courage. Every setback they endured is evidence that adversity shaped something in them that could not be destroyed. The fire of life has a way of burning away weakness and leaving behind only the courage that conquers. You cannot ask for courage without understanding that struggle is the womb that carries it. You cannot pray for strength without expecting that some weight must be lifted to reveal it. You cannot desire victory without realizing that battles are the path to it. Courage is born in those very moments when you feel like you cannot go on, and yet you take another step. It is born when life says no, but you keep believing for yes. It is born when circumstances try to silence you, but you keep speaking life over yourself. That is the place where courage rises. That is the place where courage is formed. And that is the place where courage begins to conquer. You said keynote, no. 2, expand it into 700 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. ChatGPT said courage is not the absence of fear. It is stepping forward while fear is screaming in your ear. Fear will always be present when you are on the verge of something greater. It will whisper to you in the quiet of the night. It will try to paralyze you in the light of day, and it will make you doubt every step you take. But courage is the voice that answers back and says, I will not stop here. Courage is not pretending you don't feel fear. It is refusing to let fear make the final decision. Fear will try to control your actions, but courage commands your movement. It's the inner resolve that says, even if I am trembling, I will not turn back. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every victory has been born out of someone who decided to move forward in the presence of fear. Fear says you can't handle it, but courage says try anyway. Fear says you are too weak, but courage says your strength will show up in the moment you need it most. Fear tries to magnify the size of the problem, but courage magnifies the size of your determination. You cannot deny the existence of fear, but you can decide not to let it rule your choices. The people who go the furthest are not the ones who never felt afraid. They are the ones who felt it and kept moving. Think of fear as a shadow. It looks larger than life when the light shines from a certain angle, but it has no substance. It cannot touch you. It cannot hold you. It cannot destroy you unless you believe in its illusion. Courage exposes the truth that fear has no real power over you. It is simply a reaction to the unknown, and once you step forward, you realize that most of what you were afraid of was never as big as it seemed. Fear builds walls, but courage breaks them. Fear creates excuses, but courage finds a way. Fear says stay in the boat, but courage steps out on the water. When fear rises, courage has to speak louder. Courage says, I hear you, but I will not bow. Fear is loud in the beginning, but courage grows stronger with every step. The first step might feel shaky, but each step after that builds momentum, and before long, fear loses its grip. Courage is a muscle that grows stronger every time you use it. The more you act in courage, the less fear can dominate your life. If you wait for the fear to disappear before moving, you will wait forever. If you wait until you feel nothing but confidence, you may never begin. Courage is making the decision to step forward while the fear is still shouting, while the doubt is still heavy, while the uncertainty is still real. Fear will tell you that failure is final, but courage knows failure is just feedback. Fear convinces you that mistakes disqualify you, but courage knows mistakes are a classroom for growth. Fear tries to trap you in the cycle of hesitation, But courage pulls you into the rhythm of action. You will never fully silence fear, but you can drown it out with the sound of your own determination. Every time you say yes when fear says no, you weaken its hold. Every time you take a step when fear tells you to stop, you build a new level of confidence. Courage is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle of choosing forward motion over backward retreat. The difference between the one who conquers and the one who crumbles is not the presence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Both feel the pressure, both face the doubts, both hear the inner voice that questions whether they are enough. The conqueror simply decides that fear will not dictate their future. Fear will always try to create imaginary ceilings to keep you from rising, but courage refuses to be confined. Courage knows there is more beyond the fear, more beyond the uncertainty, more beyond the hesitation. Fear tries to lock doors, but courage keeps knocking until they open. Fear may paint the picture of defeat, but courage picks up the brush and creates a new vision. Every breakthrough requires this collision between fear and courage. Fear stands at the door of your next level, but courage is the key that unlocks it. Fear tells you that you will be embarrassed if you try, but courage says the risk of trying is worth more than the regret of never attempting. Fear says you are not qualified, but courage says the opportunity will qualify you as you walk in it. Fear will always exaggerate the cost of moving forward while hiding the cost of staying stuck. Courage reveals the truth that the price of standing still is greater than the risk of moving. Courage is not blind. It sees the danger. It feels the trembling. It recognizes the uncertainty, but it still moves forward. Courage is not reckless. It is resolved. It is the voice that speaks when fear has said enough. It is the power that carries you when fear is pulling you back. It is the light that shines when fear tries to keep you in the dark. It is the decision to take one more step, to try one more time, to believe one more day, even with fear still present. You said keynote no. 3, expanded into 700 words, don't add ending sentences, don't add any headings. GPT said courage is not just a thought, not just an idea that lives inside the mind without expression. It is a force that demands action. You can dream big, you can talk about vision, you can speak about potential, but without the courage to act, those things remain locked inside of you. Action is the evidence of courage. It is the manifestation of what you believe deep within. Courage commands you to move, even when conditions are not perfect, even when resources are scarce, even when clarity is not complete. To sit still with vision burning inside of you is to allow fear to chain your destiny. But when you act, when you take even one step, courage comes alive and momentum begins to build. Dreams without courage remain only in the realm of imagination. They stir your emotions, they excite your thoughts, but they never materialize into reality. A person can carry vision for years, but it is courage that gives them the strength to release it. Courage turns desire into decision and decision into destiny. You cannot conquer what you are unwilling to confront. You cannot seize what you are unwilling to pursue. Every great breakthrough has been birthed by someone who decided to act in the face of uncertainty. Waiting for the perfect time is another disguise of fear, because perfection never comes. Courage tells you that the best time to begin is now, and the best place to start is where you are. Courage commands action, because action is the pathway to transformation. A single step forward, even if small, has more power than 1,000 intentions never carried out. The moment you move, the moment you act, you shift the atmosphere around you. Things that seemed impossible begin to respond to your forward motion. Opportunities that were hidden start to reveal themselves. Doors that were closed begin to unlock. Courage does not wait for circumstances to align. It creates alignment by moving forward with determination. Every act of courage shakes the grip of stagnation and dismantles the stronghold of fear that tries to hold you back. It is in the act of doing that strength multiplies. You may not feel ready when you start, but courage assures you that readiness will come in the process. Many people wait to feel courageous before they act, but the truth is courage becomes stronger only after action is taken. You may tremble while speaking, but courage grows with every word you release. You may doubt yourself while stepping forward, but courage grows with every step you take. Courage is not about waiting until all doubt is gone. It is about acting while doubt still lingers and proving through your actions that fear has no final authority over your life. Courage commands action in moments of resistance. When failure knocks you down, courage tells you to rise again. When rejection tries to silence your voice, courage urges you to speak again. When setbacks make you question your ability, courage says try again. Action in the face of resistance is proof of real courage. Anybody can move when the way is smooth, but true courage is revealed when the path is rough, when the wind is strong, when the opposition is fierce. Action taken in adversity builds resilience, and resilience is the backbone of every conqueror. It is the decision to keep moving, keep pressing, keep striving when giving up would be easier. Courage also commands action in the realm of sacrifice. Sometimes acting courageously means letting go of something comfortable to pursue something greater. It may mean walking away from security, stepping out of what is familiar, or releasing what no longer serves your destiny. Courage tells you that sacrifice is not loss, but investment, and that what you give up in fearlessness opens the door to something far greater. Action fueled by courage is often misunderstood by others because it looks risky, it looks unwise, it looks too bold. But history has always been shaped by those who dared to move when others stood still. Every act of courage plants seeds in the soil of destiny. Each step forward, each risk taken, each decision made in boldness creates a harvest that will eventually manifest. The small acts of courage you take today may seem insignificant, but they are building a foundation for victories you cannot yet see. Action may not produce immediate results, but consistent, courageous action produces inevitable results. Destiny is not reached in one leap, but in daily steps of courage, each one bringing you closer to the place you were created to occupy. When courage commands action, it shifts the focus from talking to doing, from planning to pursuing, from wishing to walking. It turns intentions into impact, and it transforms faith from theory into testimony. The courage to conquer is not revealed in words alone, but in the life you live, the risks you take, the challenges you face head on. Courage commands you to act, and in acting you discover that the very thing you thought you could not handle bends under the weight of your determination. You said, keynote, no. 4 expanded into 700 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings, ChatGPT said. It's not enough to start strong. Courage holds you when the journey stretches longer than you thought, when the path grows darker than you expected, when the pain cuts deeper than you imagined. Starting is one thing, but finishing requires another level of strength that cannot be found in excitement alone. Excitement can spark a beginning, but only endurance sustains the process. Endurance is the quiet voice that whispers in your spirit when fatigue tries to drown out your determination. Endurance is the steady force that carries you when the initial fire has burned low. Courage requires endurance because life does not unfold in straight lines. It twists, it turns, it delays. And it demands that you stay committed even when it doesn't look like anything is working. Courage that endures is what separates those who wish from those who win. Anybody can run fast at the sound of the starting gun, but it takes a different strength to keep running when the crowd has stopped cheering, when the road feels endless, when your legs grow heavy and your lungs burn with exhaustion. Endurance is not glamorous, it is not loud, it is not celebrated in the moment, but it is the ingredient that makes courage unshakable. Without endurance, courage collapses at the first sign of resistance. But with endurance, courage becomes an unbreakable force that keeps moving forward no matter what stands in the way. Life has a way of testing your stamina. Dreams take longer than expected, doors open slower than you planned, and breakthroughs don't come on your timetable. It is in these waiting seasons that endurance is forged. Courage without endurance gives up in the middle, but courage with endurance digs deeper, pushes harder, and learns to trust that delay is not denial. The road of destiny is paved with moments where you must endure silence, endure uncertainty, endure being overlooked, and endure being misunderstood. If you can outlast the storm, you will outlive the resistance, because storms do not last forever. But those who endure do endurance, and courage is not about ignoring pain. It is about pressing through it. It is about choosing to keep going when the weight gets heavier, when the tears keep falling, when the answers are still out of sight. It's about waking up again, showing up again, believing again, even when the results are not immediate. Endurance is what teaches you that every step forward is progress, even if the pace is slow. Courage that endures recognizes that forward is forward, no matter how small the steps may be. The mountain doesn't move all at once. It shifts little by little under the persistent pressure of courage that refuses to quit. Sometimes endurance means holding on through seasons of isolation. There will be times when people you thought would walk with you drop away. There will be moments when support seems scarce, when applause grows quiet, when encouragement is nowhere to be found. Endurance is what keeps you standing when nobody else is clapping, when nobody else is pushing you forward. Courage that endures finds strength within, strength from a vision greater than the pain, strength from a purpose that will not let go. When others walk away, endurance whispers, keep moving, because what's ahead is worth it. Endurance also means embracing the process. Growth does not happen instantly. Transformation is not overnight. Seeds do not become trees in a day, and dreams do not become reality without time. Courage that endures respects the process, understanding that every delay, every detour, every difficulty is shaping something inside of you that speed could never produce. Endurance gives depth to your courage. It gives maturity to your vision. It gives substance to your strength. Without the process, courage would remain shallow, but endurance ensures that when you conquer with character, wisdom, and resilience. Endurance and courage is what gives you staying power. It allows you to recover from setbacks, to rise after failures, to try again after disappointment. It teaches you that falling is not final as long as you have the strength to rise. It makes you realize that pain is temporary, but the strength it produces is permanent. Endurance does not just carry you through the trial, it transforms you in the process. You come out of the storm not just surviving, but stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the future. Endurance refines courage into something unshakable, unmovable, unstoppable. Courage may ignite the fire, but endurance keeps it burning until the victory is won. You said keynote no. 5, expand it into 700 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. ChatGPT said, when you stand with courage, you give permission for others to rise. Courage is never just about you. It is about the lives that are watching you, the people who are silently studying your strength, the ones who are unsure if they can keep going until they see that you kept going. The power of courage is that it is contagious. One person's bravery can ignite a flame in someone else's heart. When you dare to step out, when you dare to speak, when you dare to move, you create a ripple effect that goes far beyond what you can see. Your courage becomes the evidence that victory is possible, and somebody else who was on the verge of quitting finds the strength to continue because they saw you endure. Courage is a living testimony. It preaches louder than words ever could. You may never hold a microphone, you may never stand on a stage, but your life, your choices, your resilience become a sermon to those around you. Children watch parents and learn how to respond to adversity. Friends watch friends and learn how to push through struggle. Communities watch leaders and learn how to face challenges. Every time you choose courage over fear, you model strength for someone else who may not yet know they have it within them. What you overcome becomes the blueprint for others to follow, and what you conquer becomes the inspiration for others to rise. Sometimes the people you inspire will never tell you. They may never express that your perseverance gave them hope, that your endurance gave them direction, that your courage gave them a reason to try, but unseen eyes are watching. Silent hearts are being lifted. People you may never meet are being strengthened because courage always radiates outward. The impact of courage is generational. It sets a standard. It changes a culture. It establishes a legacy. The choices you make in courage today could inspire someone decades from now, long after you have left the scene. Courage has a way of outliving the moment and becoming a monument of hope for the future. Courage inspires because it speaks to something universal inside all of us. Everyone knows fear. Everyone has faced moments of doubt, moments of trembling, moments of wanting to quit. So when people see courage displayed, it resonates deeply. It reminds them of their own struggles and whispers. If they can, maybe I can too. Courage translates across language, culture, and generation. It is a message that does not need explanation because everyone knows what it means to fight against fear, and everyone is moved when they see someone else overcome it. Courage stirs the human spirit because it reflects the possibility of victory over the very things that try to hold us all back. Your courage may be the light someone else needs in their darkness. When you rise out of your struggle, when you refuse to bow to defeat, when you push past your own obstacles, you shine like a beacon for others. Someone who thought they were alone in their battle suddenly realizes they are not alone. Someone who thought the weight was too heavy suddenly sees that strength is possible. Someone who thought their story was over suddenly recognizes that a new chapter can begin. The courage you live out may be the very thing that pulls someone else from despair into determination. Courage that inspires others does not have to come from dramatic acts. Often it is seen in the small, consistent choices. It is in the parent who keeps providing for their family despite exhaustion. It is in the student who keeps studying after repeated failures. It is in the worker who keeps showing up even when unnoticed. It is in the dreamer who keeps pursuing the vision even when resources are low. Ordinary courage displayed consistently becomes extraordinary inspiration for those around you. People don't just admire great victories. They admire endurance, faithfulness, and persistence. The world is full of quitters, so the simple act of not quitting becomes powerful evidence that courage can carry you through. Courage also breaks the chains of limitation in others. When people see someone from their background, their circumstances, their struggles rise up and conquer, It dismantles the lie that they cannot. Your courage becomes a mirror that reflects back to them their own potential. It challenges their excuses, confronts their fears, and awakens their possibilities. You may not realize it, but your victory is giving someone else the blueprint for their own. Every act of courage multiplies beyond you, touching hearts, breaking limits, and rewriting what others thought was possible for themselves. The beautiful truth about courage is that it doesn't stay contained. Once it is expressed, it spreads. Once it is lived, it inspires. Once it is demonstrated, it becomes fuel for others to move. The courage to conquer is not only about your personal victory, but about creating a wave of courage that empowers others to rise, to fight, to believe, and to conquer what stands in their way.